Breaking news in NASCAR as the Cookout 400 race in Richmond last weekend takes an exciting turn. Just as Austin Dillon thought he had finally achieved what he had to secure his place for the playoffs this season, NASCAR throws a curveball. After the latest verdict, Austin Dillon and RCR has some huge consequences. If you want to hear more breaking news like this, hit that subscribe button for our channel and we'll take care of the rest. During the race in Richmond, Austin Dillon found himself fighting against Joey Logano, who had done well to get ahead of him during the restart. In a desperate attempt to win the race, Dillon decided to bump Joey Logano and take him out of the race. Just as he had done that, Dillon saw another car, Denny Hamlin, get ahead. But the number 3 crew refused to allow that to happen. Dillon went and took Hamlin out as well. There was a lot of speculation as to whether Dillon would be penalized or not, but now NASCAR has given the verdict. Austin Dillon will be allowed to retain his race win. However, he will lose his playoff spot for violating Section 13.3.2.1.b of the NASCAR rulebook, which deals with playoff eligibility and status. Race finishes must be unencumbered by violations of the NASCAR rules or other actions detrimental to stock car auto racing or NASCAR as determined in the sole discretion of NASCAR. NASCAR clearly reviewed the footage of the accident and determined that Austin Dillon intentionally took out Logano and Hamlin to get that race win. In a perfect world, NASCAR would have stripped Dillon of the win itself, but this is NASCAR we're talking about. The fact that this decision was made is a big deal in itself. Explaining the decision, NASCAR's VP of Competition said, "I think, in all due respect to the appeal process, we looked at this and the totality of everything that happened as you enter Turn 3 and as the cars got to the start-finish line," Sawyer said. "So as we looked through all of that data, we came to the conclusion that a line had been crossed. Our sport has been based going for many years, forever, on good hard racing. Contact has been acceptable. We felt like in this case that the line was crossed." Austin Dillon had clearly crossed the line as he took out the 2 cars. After the race, he had pretty much admitted to doing so intentionally. He had said, "I don't know, man, it's just the rules of the sport, right?" Dillon said, "It is what it is. Wins get you into the next round. I did what I had to do to cross the start-finish line first." Without a win, it will be next to impossible for Dillon to qualify for the playoffs, as he does not have enough points on the board. Given how desperate he and the team were, he felt he had to do something. And that something has not only destroyed his playoff chances, but also destroyed his and his team's image. This was not the only penalty that was handed out after Richmond. NASCAR is also suspending the number 3 crew spotter, Brandon Benesch, for the next 3 Cup Series races. During the last lap of the race, as Joey Logano was taken out by Dillon and as Hamlin was closing in, someone was heard on the radio shouting, "Wreck him!" This was later confirmed to be Brandon Benesch, the spotter for the number 3 crew. Explaining the decision to suspend Brandon, Elton Sawyer said, "If you look at the crew chief and you look at the spotter, and view them as calming voices in the driver's ear, in this case, we just felt like we've all listened to the audio. We know exactly what was said. We just felt like that's not what we need spotters doing. That's not what we need from a crew chief sitting in the box. They're a calming voice to what the situation is in front of them, and they're supposed to be spotting for the race, not making comments like were made, as we all know." NASCAR obviously does not want their spotter to yell out, "Wreck him," as it shows unsportsmanlike behavior within the team. Right after the race, Richard Childress was confronted about this radio message, and he completely denied its existence altogether. "I didn't hear him, and I was on the radio with him. We'll see. If he did a damn good job at it. He won the race." Well, he might have won the race, but it does not mean a thing as the team and Dillon gained nothing from it. Both Dillon and the team were also docked 25 points for their violations during the Cookout 400 in Richmond last weekend. After the deductions, Dillon goes from 26th to 31st in the points table. Before the Cookout 400, he was 32nd. He still gained 1 position, but has lost the playoff berth, which is a huge loss for the team and the driver. But Austin Dillon and RCR were not the only ones to have acquired penalties in Richmond. NASCAR decided to fine Joey Logano $50,000 for spinning his wheels in front of the number 3 pit box. After the race, Logano was understandably furious with the number 3 crew and Austin Dillon. To show his anger and frustration, he drove in front of the number 3 pit box and spun his wheels. This was a show of disrespect. Sawyer addressed the fine for Logano's pit road anger. saying that officials would take a closer look at post-race protocols for people going over the wall while cars are still moving toward their designated parking areas. "Some of this, we've got some work to do on our side," Sawyer said. "There was a lot of people on pit road, and there always is. We have our officials out there. The drivers need to understand that. Totally understand the emotion, I get it. I've been there a few years back. But you have to respect the fact that we do have people on pit road. Our officials will be there, security will be there. We'll do a better job on our side to make sure that families and young children and sponsors, and of that nature, are not on the hot side." After the race, the pit road is generally crowded with NASCAR officials, reporters, and more. With so many people on pit road, it's not safe for drivers to spin their wheels. This is why Logano was handed a penalty. But this was something Logano won't mind too much. "Apparently, it's okay. What do you want me to say?" Logano told reporters right after the race. "Apparently, you can come from 5 car lengths back and completely wreck someone and then wreck another one to the line, and we're gonna call that racing." In fact, Joey Logano wanted NASCAR to take the win away from Dillon, but he thought that they wouldn't. Yeah, they should take it away. They won't. When you're leading by a few car lengths into the final turn, you don't expect someone to give you the bumper. You really don't expect to get sent into the wall in a cloud of your own tire smoke. That's exactly what happened to Logano. No, when you get that far ahead, 3, 4 car lengths ahead in 3, I didn't back up the entry. I was like, I'll just wrap the bottom here, I'm good. And he just drives in so hard. Obviously, he didn't make the turn because he hit me, and the 11 was going to win the race. So he had no intention to race. I beat him fair and square on the restart, and he just pulled a chicken shit move. He's a piece of crap. He sucks. He sucked his whole career, and now he's going to be in the playoffs. And good for him, I guess. He's 4 car lengths back, Logano told NBC Sports' Dylan Welch after being credited with a 19th place finish. Then he wrecks Hamlin to go along with it. He's going to go up there and thank God and praise everything with his baby. It's a bunch of BS, not even freaking close. I get it, bump and run, I get it. I didn't back up the corner at all, he just drove through me. It's ridiculous that that's the way we race. Unbelievable. Although NASCAR did not strip the race win from Dillon, they did take away his playoff berth. Logano would be a happy man considering that justice was served. However, this does not help his race result in any way. If not for that incident, Joey Logano would have won the race, but there's nothing NASCAR can do about that. This is just something Joey is gonna have to live with. Now that Dillon's playoff berth has been stripped, he and the team are back to square one. This year has been the worst for RCR and their drivers. With only 3 more races remaining, it's highly unlikely that Dillon or his teammate Kyle Busch would be able to get another race win, especially against contenders such as Joe Gibbs Racing, Hendrick Motorsports, and Penske. But never say never. Do you think Austin Dillon and RCR will be able to get another race win in the next 3 races to qualify for the playoffs? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.